Hi, class. What evidence did you see and hear by watching Mr. Provost with his video that supports what we've learned so far regarding setting and communicating learning objectives using the gradual release model, giving feedback, and assessment? Mr. Pronovost showed a great interest in the students and their learning. He made sure that the students understood what the objectives of the lesson were, and he went over that information with them. He then gave the students the opportunity and instructions to use the computer programs and games to use the information that he had given them. He told them that they had to score an 80 or better in order to move on. Students then took over their learning by playing the math games on the computer. The feedback was immediately given with the games, and this way Mr. Pronovost was able to work with students that needed extra instruction. The students that were able to move on were able to do so. Their assessment was immediate with the computer programs that were being used. Mr. Pronovost did a great job communicating the learning objectives to the students and then giving them responsibility for their work on the computer games. The second point is, how does he specifically structure his lesson to incorporate technology, and how does using technology promote differentiation? By structuring his lesson to incorporate technology, Mr. Provost worked with the computer games and programs to aid in the instruction and assessment of his students. He first guided the students and then instructed them with the information that they would need for the computer games. Then he let the students that were ready to move on to get on the computer and play the games, instructing them that they had to maintain a score to pass. This technology freed Mr. Provost up for the work to be able to work with students that needed extra help. This definitely promotes differentiated instruction in the class. He used several types of technology to reinforce his lesson. There were computers, iPads, and smartboards. This gave the students with different learning capabilities the opportunity to master the lesson at their own pace. The technology that was used in the classroom promoted differentiation, and each student got to set their own pace of learning. The third point, what evidence is there of varying levels of cognition? There were varying levels of cognition in this class that were shown throughout. Kids learning at their own pace on the computers, iPads, and those that were getting one-on-one help from Mr. Provost. The kids working through the computer applications at different paces and had different levels of understanding based on the feedback and scores from the games. Mr. Provost handled these different levels of understanding in a great way. He focused his energy on the students that needed him the most and gave the responsibility over to those students that could move on. At the end of the day, all of the students had a basic mastery of the lesson and will be able to move on to the next lesson. How do you believe this type of learning environment makes students feel about their capabilities with math, and why? I think this learning environment would be great for any student, not just math students. It seemed that the students all worked well at their own pace, and there was no embarrassment from the students that needed a little more instruction. And while I do see the potential for teasing, I didn't witness any in this video. I believe the teacher had capability of taking care of any bullying issues that could arise. The kids that moved on were busy with their games and didn't seem to notice that the others needed more help. I feel that the students that worked on their own were assessed immediately and were able to move on if they scored well enough. This is a great boost for them and their morale, and a great way to encourage them. Even the students that needed help felt better and performed better at the end of the lesson. All of the students were able to master their skills at their own pace and comfort level. One way that Mr. Provost could make sure that there were not any issues with the students is to have the students that get it help the students that don't get it. On the whole, I really thought that Mr. Provost used technology the best way possible in his class. Technology is here to stay, and the potential to reach students with these technological tools and programs is great. I wish they had been there for me when I was in school, and I look forward to using technology while I teach. Thank you, and have a great day.